Hey, what's going on, YouTube? How are ya? Hiker Dave here. I hope everyone's doing well, and thank you so much for coming by for episode 2 of the Bridgewater Triangle. So I'm going to start the episode 2 with the Freetown State Forest. This place is insane with the amount of activity in this area. It is the southernmost tip of the Bridgewater Triangle, and first of all, just in the Bridgewater Triangle itself, it has been well documented that the communities and towns within the triangle has a heightened level of crime, which in itself is kind of odd, but it just kind of goes to show the area that all these different things in themselves don't mean much, but when you clump everything and put it all together, it really is a strange area. Freetown sticks out as having the most criminal activity, and the state forest in Freetown has a long history in itself, such as murders, ghosts, UFOs, satanic cult activity, Wiccan rituals, time slips, Pudge Wedgies. I like just saying that, Pudge Wedgies. I'll get to that in a couple minutes. Black helicopters and large suicide clusters. For instance, there's an area called the Satanic Ledge, and it's between the upper and lower road. And there's been a huge number of occurrences here, and has also been the scene of tragedy. In the early 1900s, there was a quarry there, and as well as a blacksmith shop. And the shop blew up when a large amount of dynamite exploded, and it killed a handful of men and forced the company to halt production. According to rumors, as well as local authorities, there have been at least a dozen suicides at this Satanic Ledge, right at this site. I do want to say, too, I've never been there, and I don't plan to go there. I don't want to. I've heard stories of this place years and years ago. There was also, I remember as a youngin', the murder of Mary Lou Aruda, her name was, and they found her tied to a tree out in the woods. And I apologize if there are kids watching, young ones watching, but it's really just kind of the truth of this place. And I'll leave it at that. But I remember her disappearance, and months later, I'm not positive on that, but they did find her out there in the Freetown State Forest. That place really creeps me out. I don't go there. I don't hike there. I don't have plans to, but I guess that's not to say I'll never go there. But right now, I've got tons of areas to hike and explore. That's not one of them that's on my list. It's a really odd place. After the dynamite exploded, killing a handful of men, and again, with the large clusters of suicides right in that area, at least 12 on the Satanic Ledge itself. And there are off-the-record statements made by some police and firefighters that say that the ledge, below the ledge, the cliff, is a body of water. Of course, quarries always tend to fill up with water. And these police officers, off the record, say that they believe that there is numerous bodies still under the surface of the water here. And it's unknown just how deep the quarry is. Attempts have been made by divers to reach the bottom of the quarry, but because of the water temperature, these handful of attempts were spoiled because of the water temperature. I'm not a diver. I don't know anything about it. I would think that there's ways to get around that, but I don't know that. People who go to this ledge, now I personally know of a person who was there recently, not 3 or 4 months ago, that went out there with a friend, and she had a very bad experience. She felt like she was something took over her, and she absolutely flipped out. She was crying and screaming. Her boyfriend had to physically get her out of the woods and brought her to an emergency room, a local hospital there. That happened. That happened recently, about 3 or 4 months ago. So it said that people who go there report an overwhelming feeling of sadness, and people that visit, they'll feel just fine as they approach the ledge, and then they are stuck with a sudden urge to jump off the rocks. into the seemingly bottomless water below. There is a heaviness or a feeling of despair at this place, and there have been people that had to be physically stopped or pulled back, and I've heard that before as well. Growing up in this area, I've heard accounts and stories here and there of friends going up to the ledge to party and stuff like that, and they would spot a friend of theirs just walking, stone-faced, just no expressionless, and just walking towards the ledge, and they had to be grabbed by their friends to stop them from walking off the ledge. It is said that there is a sadness trapped in the rocks, and a lot of younger kids go there to party and drink beer and draw graffiti on the rocks. Again, I haven't been there. I probably will at some point. I just don't feel the need to put myself in that situation, but who knows? People who have gone up there also say that they see images of people jumping off the cliff and going into the off the ledge and into the water. Now, there's this story of the ghost that haunts the ledge. For decades, people have talked about the Lady of the Ledge. This woman is apparently a scorned lover and is seen at the edge of the cliff and has been seen jumping off the cliff to her death. And legend has it that she planned to meet her lover here, and it was a secret relationship between the two, and they hadn't seen each other in quite a while, and they had a secret meeting set up to meet at the Assonet Ledge. And the guy or boy, his parents completely did not approve of this woman, and they kept him from going that night. She stood there all night and realized he's not going to show, and she was devastated and decided that rather than go on living without him, she jumped off the cliff to her death. One second, I'm of course have everything written down in my ledger here. Okay, and I mentioned about the large number of suicides. So this is where the Pudge Wedgie comes into the story. I don't need to read it from anything because I'm well versed in the Pudge Wedgies, and I don't know whether I follow that the whole Pudge Wedgie thing or not. But there's many stories of this creature or something, a small little dwarf or elf type being that is said to be out in the forest of Freetown, out in Freetown State Forest, that will lull you into a false sense of comfort or security, and they befriend you, and they will kind of lead you towards the Assonet Ledge, and all the while making you feel comfortable like they're your friend, and there's an overwhelming feeling of happiness that comes with seeing one of these creatures. And once they can get you to the ledge, they'll either push you off the ledge or talk you into committing suicide. Now, I don't know of any stories of people that say that they've seen a Pudge Wedgie. I'm not really sure what a Pudge Wedgie is, but I've heard it explained like that, like it's just this small little elf or dwarf-like being. There's also the stories of black helicopters. I've heard quite a bit. Even in my younger days, there were reports that there was maybe some military stuff going on out that way, and maybe there's a military base buried underground out there. I'm not sure. Plenty of UFO sightings. A lot of light orbs have been seen out in this area, but I'm very interested in the black helicopter thing, because that is even as late or as early, I don't know quite how to word that, but as recently as the late 90s and early 2000s, there have been black helicopters seen over the Freetown State Forest. So really strange stuff going on. Very interesting. Again, there's DVDs out there about Freetown State Forest and about the Bridgewater Triangle. Books have been written. I've been reading this book. Let's see. It's called Ghosts of the Bridgewater Triangle. This is where I'm getting a lot of information here. You could just go get the book and read it. But what fun is that? Then you can't sit and hear Hiker Dave tell his stories. I definitely do appreciate you guys coming by. This one was interesting. I'm fascinated with this Freetown State Forest, but not fascinated enough to get myself out there to hike. I'm not sure if that's something it's something I want to do. I don't know of any real Bigfoot sightings out there. There may be. I haven't seen any yet. I'm sure there has been, but I like to research Bigfoot or explore. I like to explore areas where I see Bigfoot sign and hear stories that there have been sightings. And this Freetown State Forest, maybe there has been. I don't know. I'm uncomfortable with going there, and I don't see why I should go to a place where all I hear really is bad stories of this area. I did get a commenter because I've done a story about the Hockomock Swamp, and I did talk about in that video about the Freetown State Forest and just a high strangeness going on over there. And I had a commenter by, I think it was a woman who said, hey, Dave, I hike there all the time, and there's really no problem out there. It's a beautiful area. I believe that. I really do. I believe it, and I may at some point someday go out there. But I got plenty of areas all around me here that's closer to my home that I still have yet to explore. That I still just I don't if it ever comes to it, believe me, you guys will be the first to know it because I'll be making a video out there. But as of right now, I don't have plans to go out there. It's too much, I think, going on out there for my comfort level with the satanic rituals and sacrificing of animals. And there really is a little more to this place than I right now am telling you guys about. But I'm not going to make a half-an-hour video on it. And I got stuff I got to do. I want to go on a hike before the sun goes down, but I wanted to give you a nice little snippet of what this place is known for. So I definitely appreciate you guys coming by, and without a doubt, I'll see you on the next one.